now, my children, my broskies, my little oodalollies, stealing a line from Rebecca Parham. Today, I don't know if this is going to be a big, stream. I really want it to be a big stream. I'll get to that in a second. But my legs have been doing a bad. You see, I can't sit on any chair for more than like 10 minutes before my legs start hurting, and I don't know why. It's not my hips, it's not my tailbone, it's my actual freaking left femur. Like my left thigh. Underneath it just goes, Gink! Nope, we're not doing that. So I'm just, what the? Okay. So we're gonna try and power through these last few pages as fast as possible. So we might be nonverbal speed running here. And Dargoris, hi, hello. It is very much okay. I didn't even stream this Thursday or Friday. I just was not in the right headspace for it, and you're fine. You're a-okay. Speedrun! And thank you for the follow. We are one follower away from meeting our first goal here on Twitch before I bring out the big guns and make a new follow goal. Because we need to hit 25 followers before I can actually add a sub goal. I think. I don't know. Besides the leg problem, I am doing better. We are halfway through September. And I would normally be a little bit more stoked. I mean, it did rain yesterday, which was awesome. I love the rain. I love the fall weather. But I looked at the forecast. This week is gonna stay up in the 80s, high 70s. And I'm just, oh my god. The second it hits the 21st, it better be 70 and under, or I'm going to do something drastic. But not really. Weather-wise, it's been awesome. You know, mostly awesome here. But there, you know, there are some other things that happened in America that everyone is screaming about, and I will not be bringing it up here, mostly because when the news hit, I had to Google what the heck, what the situation was. I had to Google it. So it's like, what? Who? They're like, this guy, this thing happened to this guy, and I'm like, who? I had to go look him up. It's like, oh, okay, all bless. My condolences to the family, I suppose. And I say that with anybody. It's like, oh, my condolences. I don't know who that guy is. But a lot of people have been freaking out about it. So, I know nothing. So I will not be mentioning it here. And neither will you guys. That's on the... okay. I just, recently, and by recent, I mean right before I started stream, watched a video called Why Halloween Hits Different. And it was mostly talking about how, now that we're older, Halloween feels... that, you know, this Halloween doesn't have the same, magic that it used to for a lot of people. And I understand why people feel that way. You know, it is part of growing up. The things you liked as a kid just don't hit the same. But it was also a question, you know, a problem with, you know, the economy, Christmas being pushed earlier and earlier every year. which I absolutely hate, by the way. One thing y'all want to know about me, I heckin' hate Christmas with every fiber of my being. I'm sorry if you love that holiday. For me, it is nothing but terribleness. I love winter, but I hate Christmas. There's very few things about the Christmas season that I will be like, okay, I'll admit, that is really nice. And that's not just me being a Jew, that's that's me. Also, even when I was Christian, back when I celebrated Christmas, I didn't like how early the season kept getting pushed. Like, we didn't celebrate Halloween when I was a kid, which is probably why I don't feel the same loss of magic. Because for me, it like happened in reverse. The Halloween spirit happened to me in reverse. Because you know, like when you're a kid, you love Halloween. You're like get to go trick or treating. You're dressing up. Your family makes a whole big deal. Mom puts a coat on you while you insisted and interferes with your costume, but it's cold out. You know. But for me and my family, we never celebrated Halloween because we were Seventh-day Adventists, A. And B, we live with no neighbors around, so going into town to do trick-or-treating, my parents didn't want to do that. They didn't want to drive into town just for me to walk to strangers' homes asking for candy in a costume. You know, we just never did that. Our version of celebrating Halloween was treating it like any other day, and we watched the movie Space Invaders. Which, granted, is the best Halloween movie ever made. You can't convince me otherwise. It is the funniest. I love that movie so much, I made a whole video essay on it on my YouTube channel. Which is linked in the About page. Make sure you have restricted mode off on YouTube, because I think... Okay, it's called Spaced Invaders. Let me, hang on, do I have the cover saved on my computer? Because I love that movie so much. Stand by. I don't think I do, even though I once did. No, I don't. Okay. It's called... Here, let me write it out. It's called Spaced oh my god, Invaders. Spaced Invaders. Not Space Invaders. Space Invaders is a video game. Spaced Invaders is a Halloween comedy where... I'll try to explain it. It's Halloween in this rural town, like Big Bean, Illinois, and they are... as a way of celebrating, the local radio broadcast plays the Halloween prank of Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, which happened in America during the Great Depression, if you didn't know. It was this huge thing. While they're playing that broadcast talking about, like, the War of the Worlds and how the Earth is under attack from invaders from Mars, actual Martians pick up on the broadcast. And the Martian crew is like, oh, the Martian Armada is attacking Earth. Let's join in the fun. Finally, a chance to prove ourselves. And they crash land in that little town and they attempt to wreak havoc on Halloween, but everyone thinks they're kids in costumes trick-or-treating. So the Martians are just like, what? Shouldn't they be running in terror? And it's so funny, because they're also hilariously incompetent. But they're so funny. They're like, well, let's just play along and see where this goes. It's one of my favorite Halloween movies ever. Mostly because I don't really count Paranorman as a Halloween movie, even though it technically is a Halloween movie. I count it more as, you know, it doesn't feel like a Halloween spirit. Yes, it does have a spooky vibe, but Paranorman is more a tale about what fear of the unknown does to people. And it's more of like a, despite being a lighthearted kids movie, not a lighthearted, seeming like a lighthearted kids movie, the kid can talk to ghosts. It's more like a cautionary tale and a warning to society. We don't celebrate Halloween. Yeah, yeah, I know. It's actually, Halloween came from Ireland. And when the Irish immigrants came to America, they just took it with them. And Americans love celebrating literally any excuse to to drink and be merry. Bought a keyboard and apparently just eat four shroomy shits because I was hungry. Today is interesting. Oh my goodness, you eat 4 shroomy sticks, man. You're gonna have an interesting experience later. And I'm sorry to hear about your day, Dardoris. What the fuck? They're trying to kill me! Hopefully, the stream helps you feel better. Because that's all I want out of life. Well, not all I want out of life, okay? I want a house in West Virginia. But, hopefully, by being here, you feel we can, bring up the vibe a little. Alright, Brenda for speedrun. Turn down the opacity just so I can see where the head and line art is. Alley-oop. Yeah, like what I just said, Waffles. So, oh shoot, that's the wrong layer. Anyway, watching that little video, it is kind of sad that this is like, Halloween was it wasn't a huge part of my childhood, but I do have a lot of fond memories around the Halloween time. Because what my school would do is we would, my school, we would all show up to class in costume, have little parties, and then we would go door to door through the halls in the high school end in our costumes as elementary kids, and the high schoolers and teachers would pass out candy to us. And there would be like little games, there would be like a little harvest, and later that night there would be a harvest carnival that was held sometimes outside, sometimes in the gym, depending on the weather or how dark it was. Sometimes it was at a local park, and I do remember that was really fun. But then, like, when it was held at the gym, they would have music playing on the loudspeakers. You could, like, walk around and have, there were different, for extra credit, seniors would have different activities. And there was, you know, like, of course, the little kitty one, pin the tail on the donkey, that was, like, Halloween themed. Last year, I helped my mom, because my mom's a teacher at the school that I used to go to. And she did, like, pin the eye patch on the pirate. And we were handing out, stickers and homemade prizes. Other people were, like, doing, you know, you get to pie someone in the face, or if you if you offer enough tickets, you could send someone to jail for, like, 10 minutes, and it was so fun. It was, like, just different games and prizes that you could win, and it was real fun. They also had food. Like, they'd open concessions and serve, like, nachos, hot dogs, and oops, that's the wrong one. And it was a lot of fun. I remember doing that, and it was just, I really liked that time of year. And I always loved this time of year. Oh my goodness. But, you know, growing up around, like, being raised around the Seventh-day Adventist, mentality saying, like, Halloween was the devil's birthday, so we only got involved in the Harvest Carnival because it wasn't explicitly Halloween, it was Harvest, which my mom... And then we would, like, do the exact same things. We would dress up in costumes and get candy and win prizes and whatnot. So it was kind of mixed signals, which happens a lot in Christianity. Let's not get it twisted. Now, as I'm an adult, the Halloween spirit hits me a little bit harder because I have free will. And I've always felt guilty about liking Halloween when I was a kid because I was, guilted, saying that this was an evil holiday. And yes, bad things do happen. A lot of children go missing around on the Halloween day. A lot of cultist activity happens. Pets go missing. But if you look at it statistically, that happens just as much as any other major holiday. Like, let's not even bring up the fact that, Easter and Christmas, like, there's a lot of crime on Christmas, Easter, so much animal abuse happens on so many other different holidays, but the Christians latched on to Halloween because it had Irish roots, and it has nothing, it almost has nothing to do with paganism. There's a little bit in there. But that is with every holiday. There's always some paganistic roots in every holiday. So, you're gonna guilt me for having a good time, enjoying pumpkins and candles and fall and cider and hanging out with friends, dressing up in costume. You're really gonna guilt children for that? No. Of course you wouldn't, because that's stupid. Anyway. Oh, you were sick today. Happy, but I am sick a lot. Starting thinking about going to school even when I was still sick. Yep. I went to school when I was sick all the time too. With the way I was raised, if you had a fever or were throwing up, you stayed home. But everything other than that, you went to school because education is important. Halloween exists in the Netherlands? Oh, that's cool. But from my perspective, it's definitely dying every year. It's lesser and lesser crowd. Yeah, not sure this year. No, at least my town Halloween is dying. Don't have to waste money on candy. I have to go. You didn't think about it that way. But also, I think a lot of people's Halloween celebrations have gone online. Like, instead of going out and partying or trick-or-treating, a lot of kids just hang out with their Discord friends and, like, have watch parties. I know a lot of content creators have watch parties during this time of year. And, 2020 really took a shit on annual traditions of hanging out in community. But I don't have to tell you guys about that. It's just a myriad of things that are all happening at once. And it is sad because you've seen like old traditions slowly die out. But here's the thing that I've noticed with social constructs and traditions. It's gonna have a lull for like maybe 5 more years. We'll have a lull. And then some of these new kids will hear about the old Halloween tradition and be like, oh my god, that sounds so cool. Why don't we do that? Hey guys, let's all do that, because we didn't get it as a kid. We had trunk-or-treating. No, let's have trick-or-treating and tell our kids about it, and then it'll spring back up like a cultural phenomenon. Like most things in culture and in fashion, specifically in the fashion industry, it repeats itself. It'll cycle back around, Like the weather. We're gonna have hot spells, you're gonna have cold spells. It'll cycle back around. So I'm not too worried about sacred traditions dying, because they'll come back. They'll be back. It'll just take a minute before, because, like, retro Halloween music is so popular now. At least it is on my feed. I can't scroll, like, past 3 videos that are playlists for vintage style Halloween music from, like, the 30s and 40s, which, honestly, banging years for music, not great to live in. And I think with this more social, economic, and seasonal depression going on, I think our creativity is gonna spike a little bit. Where's the Halloween music? Okay? Let's make some... Where's the modern Halloween music? Let's get in on that. Voltaire is holding the line for modern Halloween music. We need to support his shows. We need to support that man. What color? Oh, this color. See, it feels sad now, but as long as we hold the line and keep to the traditions ourselves, nothing is ever gone forever. You know, they say, oh, nothing lasts forever. Well, nothing actually stays gone. It always comes back in some shape or form. Maybe not the same as what it once was, but it'll feel similar. It'll feel familiar. I mean, just look at you, Waffles, with your retro tech all over your room. It's back in fashion. Retro style tech, everyone loves that now. Especially our generation. We love old tech. Because it's just so cool. That's me with old cars. I don't drive. I hate driving. I hate modern cars. I don't do it. But old cars, like vintage cars that you need a specific license and club to even be street legal because they don't have airbags type old car, are so cool because every single button had a specific function and it was only like 5 buttons on the dashboard. You could only go up to like 90, maybe 120 at most on those, you know, speedometers. And it was just so, it was like a status, an image of status having a car, and it was a luxury item, and it was supposed to be relaxing, you know? It was something fun to do, recreational. So, for this stream, I'm just gonna be doing the flats, so I can speed through these last few pages real fast and get the flats, and then we'll come back and do the backgrounds, either on or off stream. Slight spoilers for the comic, by the way. Took a few days, but you finished your drawing! Congrats, man. There were a few drawings where I almost rage quit because it was taking me so long to do. That was because I was trying out a new lineless art style for that piece, and holy shit. Lineless takes so long. You think it's your best one? Yeah, absolutely. The ones that take the longest usually end up being peak. Oh, in the Netherlands, we have a holiday, Sinterklaas, which is a very big part of my childhood. Recently changed the mascot from, oh my goodness, Zwart Piet to something else. Not sure what to think of it, since sheriffs don't have effect on childhoods, but Sweet Piet was also racist. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know about that. I've heard about that, and I remember seeing it and going, Well, they do it differently over there. I understand why they changed the mascot. I do remember doing research about that. Or hearing about it when I was watching a documentary about like the complete history of Christmas or whatever. It's like, whoa, that's interesting. I know in Wales or in Welsh areas they had this horse with the skull head that would come around and walk around town. Oh, Piet doesn't really have a translation, very old term. Some words I like that. Christmas is like one of those things where I had a general, not, as a kid I liked Christmas because, I liked presents, I liked the music, I liked hot cocoa, I loved winter. So, like, Christmas and winter celebrations just all kind of lumped together in my mind. But then, I got older, typical Hallmark, I lost touch with the Christmas spirit and blah-de-blah. But then I just can't stand it anymore. It's one of those things where nothing terrible happened to me on Christmas, so it's not like a Ebenezer Scrooge situation where I was traumatized as a child away from Christmas. I just learned more about the history and I can't stand the music anymore. It's all about capitalism. Christmas is now encroaching on Halloween. I'm like, okay, now encroaching on Thanksgiving, that was strike one. Encroaching in the 1st of November, that was strike two. Putting up Christmas decorations and bullshit in October, I'm going to kill you in-game. I'm gonna toilet paper your house. God, you remember, like, whatever happened to pranks? Like, Halloween pranks, those were fun. Sure, they were a bit of a bitch to clean up, but it was all in good turn. It was all in good fun. Do. I love that I finally get to do this page and make this joke. Because I've been wanting to do this joke since the scene, since page 95. I've been wanting to do this joke. I think I did it in the description. I was like, well, technically he'd be third to know. Whatever. I was like, bringing back his old sass. I love it. I miss this little dickhead. This is also my roundabout way of retconning his entire personality, explaining why his entire personality was retconned. Hopefully the viewers accept my reasoning. Which is probably the worst place to say that. Hey, no. Hey, no hate to anyone who loves Christmas. Everyone has their reasons. Like, I love Thanksgiving. I have my reasons for loving Thanksgiving, and I understand everyone else has their reasons for hating Thanksgiving. It's really a thing? I thought it was American movies and series. In some I've never personally seen it happen, but yes, it was a thing. It was huge in like the 80s and 90s, back when Halloween was like a personality like Halloween was just as big, if not bigger, than Christmas. It was just a part of life. Your house was toilet papered, usually by teenagers, because they could, you know, toss the toilet paper that high over the trees and houses, and it was just like, you keep shit off my lawn, and then it was like, ah ha 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 ha, see you next year, Mr. Flamisham. At least from my memory, it was. I never took part, because like I said, we never celebrated Halloween when I was a kid, and as an adult, I celebrate in my own way of just like watching movies and like enjoying the content everyone else makes, especially creepypastas. Holy crap, but I enjoy creepypastas year round, but the ones that come out like they kick up around Halloween, and like Lost Narrator, I think they're gonna be doing a special. At least I hope they do. Bring back My Little Pony creepypastas. They're so good. Now, yeah, that's understandable. Most American depictions in movies are very much exaggerated, but they all come from a grain of truth. You know, like the old mantra, trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. You know what, saying that discovering that Halloween is actually Irish makes so much sense, because trick-or-treating kind of works on Fae logic, you know? When a Fae comes to your door and asks for a favor and you don't, or if you turn them away, they will put a curse on you. That's just how, like, the Fae work. And it's not just in Irish folklore. There's one in, like in Hawaii. Pele will disguise herself as an old woman, and she'll come to your door asking for booze, asking for some smokes. And if you turn her away or are rude to her, guess what? Your house is gonna get destroyed by the next volcano. Cutting pumpkins. Oh yeah. I actually have grown some pumpkins this year, which is gonna be awesome. We're not doing jack-o'-lanterns, because that's just a waste of a good pumpkin. I will be turning all the pumpkins I grow this year that I don't give away into pies or cakes. Maybe soup. I love savory pumpkin soup. But you really need you need good beef stew for that. And if we could find some choice meat, that'd really work. I thought that was the bucket tool. There we go. So yeah, as a family, you know, my family as a whole does nothing for Halloween. Maybe we'll anything we do specifically on Halloween is either helping out at the school doing their harvest carnival, or, you know, at my behest. This year, I really want to watch Over the Garden this year for Halloween, because it is a Halloween series. But my sister insists that it's more November themed. November and Thanksgiving, so we're gonna have an argument about that. I mean, we can watch it both times. It's just, whenever we watch Over the Garden Wall, we just have a binge. The only food from pumpkin you ever had was pumpkin soup. It's good, eh? I mean, like, you can't beat good old pumpkin pie. Sorry, that just looked weird. I had to think about that. But yeah, pumpkin soup with the right ingredients is mwah, phenomenal. Especially if you add a shitload of garlic, onions, and cheese. Now, whatever cheese you want to use is fine. I personally think pumpkin and beef, the flavor it lends more to a good, sharp cheddar. And that's just me personally. In my American opinion, we love our cheese here in America. I think a good sharp cheddar. Seems so different from Central Europe. I hate so much of... I have a hard time believing America even exists. Even when I was in England, it was so hard to believe that I was actually in England. I don't know why. It was so surreal. Lived here all my life. Can't imagine other places exist, although, you know, I've been Italy, Croatia, Luxembourg, Belgium, France. List goes on. I can't. America is one of those weird places where... Because here's the thing that some Europeans forget, and a lot of Americans also forget. America is like the size of Europe. And plus, we also have Hawaii and Alaska. Alaska is half the size of mainland the United States. Wait, I actually don't know how big the US is compared to Europe. But I do know if you, like, overlap them, you'll be baffled by the sizes. And, like, each state has their own policies. And here, you got America. I said we were speedrunning, but I guess we're just gonna be doing this. You have, this is gonna be so botched. Alright, Texas, let's go, Florida, Maine, there we go, okay. And then way over here you have Alaska and Hawaii. They're not this close. They're way over. You have mainland America. This looks so botched. And even each region, because you got like New England, the South, Florida is still technically part of the South, even though it does not feel like it, but it is. Then you got, the Northwest. Oh, okay, there's something in here. There's the Great Plains. Central, oh my god, I can't remember how the regions are split up, but it's something like this, eh? And each region has their own culture and the way they do things. Each coast has their own culture and the way they use things. Like, it's pop over here, it's soda over here. You know, we even use different words for things, even though we're in the same damn country. And then you have, like, each state does things differently. And then within each state, you have the different regions. And they all do things differently. And then with each region, you have different counties that do things differently. And then with each... I can't zoom in anymore. And with each county, you have different towns that do things differently. And yes, that's how it is everywhere. But it's just so... Did I erase? No, I didn't. There we go. And then what you see on TV is just a broad summary of what some few parts of America are actually like. Sorry for that over-explained, that over-exaggerated explanation of regionalism, but it's just baffling to me that how different, whoops, like, you can still be in the same county, but you move to a different town, which is like a 30-minute drive away, and it's like it's a whole different area. They do things completely differently over there. 2 hours to drive from Amsterdam to the top of the bottom is insane. 2 hours here? That's like from where I live to almost outside of Seattle. Well, actually, Seattle's more of a 3-hour drive, but that's also accounting for traffic, and we got the Rocky Mountain. Not the Rockies, my bad. The Cascade Mountains right there. And we gotta drive over mountains just to get to Seattle. And that's a bit of a trek. Another problem with, like, being from such a rural place, I could be in a town that's, again, a 30-minute drive away, and I say, oh, I'm from this town, and they're like, oh, wow, where's that? It's like, are you kidding me? It's like, right over there. I'm like, oh, I've never heard of it. It's like, we've been here since Washington was a state. But then again, I've lived in Washington my entire life, and there are towns I've never even heard of, I've never even been to. Even more I've never even been to. No, I'm gonna do this first, and then we'll go back and do that. It just depends on how much. It just depends on how rich you are, and if you can afford the gas, the time and gas to get places. It's also weird. It's so weird. This is an absolutely true story. Anytime, like, my sister and I went on a trip to Yellowstone, which is in, like, Wyoming or something like that. Montana, Wyoming. And we were just hanging out, and I said, oh, and people were like, oh, where are you from? And I was like, oh, I'm from Washington. And they're like, oh, D.C.? Like, no, the state. And I had to explain to them where Washington State was. Meanwhile, and this was like, I'm barely 3 states over from where I live. And I'm having to explain to a fellow American who was much older than me where the Washington State was on the map. Granted, they could have been a tourist and was from, like, the East Coast and whatnot, but whatever. Meanwhile, I go to Israel for a summer, and I say, and they said, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from Washington. And they immediately go, yeah, the state, I know. I know where that is. It's like, how is it that someone from the Mediterranean knows where my state is? And when I said the town, they're like, oh yeah, I've heard of it. Now, granted, they could have been lying, but she knew facts about the town that I mentioned. It was like, how is it that y'all from way over here know more than my fellow Oh my goodness. That was a very surreal experience, I'll tell you what. Very surreal. I am gonna have to... 1 second, guys. I need to... Woo! Turn on this fan. My goodness. Why is it so hot? Now, it might be because I'm actually wearing pants today. That might be it. But it feels so humid. It rained yesterday, as I mentioned, and now it's sunny and hot. So, God, now it's just humid. His tail! I hope you feel better too, Dardoris. Have a good sleep. If I had it my way, the stream would be like 5 hours of until we don't finish until I'm done. But I learned my lesson from last time. The last time I said the stream wasn't ending until I finished that project, that stream lasted 10 hours. And somehow I didn't die. You know, physically. Oh, the benefits of youth. It's like, I'm 3 years away from being 30, and I can already feel my body falling apart. I'm just, no! 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 You're not supposed to do that till you're 40! What is life? Is life nothing more than the endless search of one stimulating experience to the next? What even is health but an unpermanent... Man, I wish I was more poetic. But a constant reminder of our fickle state of being and permanence, that we have wrapped ourselves in false comfort. Woe unto any that fucking hell. Sorry, some of the cats are fighting. Oh, goodness. Oh, a little canal house. That's cute. Most every town around here, not helping with the stereotype, is a windmill. I don't know where I'm going with this. There's just lots of play. Says that you like, yeah. I've actually never been to Europe in any. No. No, I don't think I have ever been to Europe. Not even on like an overnight flight. I think we skipped. Maybe at an airport, but I don't really count that as going to a country if you just are transferring flights at an airport. I personally don't count that. But then again, I've hardly been around my own country, so. Not to push the redneck stereotype, but we don't get out much. Amsterdam is a hellhole. Do not recommended. I'll keep that in mind if and ever I tour the place. Okay, that one I'm gonna do off stream specifically because of how over illustrated it is. Ah. I tried to make him look shocked, but the only thing I ended up achieving is making him look goofy. But whatever, it's short tail. He can look gooby. He can look like a goober. Most of it's very pretty. I highly recommend during traveling. I guess. See lots of pretty places anyway. Yeah. I really, there are 2 places in America that specifically where I want to go to, but also no, I shouldn't go to because I'll never want to leave. I want to go to Sleepy Hollow, New York, solely because of the legend of Sleepy Hollow. Because I love the Headless Horseman. That's one of my favorite folktale figures. Because like that whole town in New York, Sleepy Hollow, New York, they go all out during Halloween. They have actual headless riders that go around with pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns in their heads. You can tour the cemetery and look at all. They have like Headless Horseman themed everything, and it's so freaking awesome. I want to go so bad. I never actually want to go to New York City, but Sleepy Hollow, New York, y'all on my list. And another place I desperately want to go to is West Virginia. But anywhere West Virginia. I'll go to Huntington. I'll go to anywhere West Virginia just to say that I've gone. Especially in fall. I want to go in fall or spring. But Point Pleasant, West Virginia would be really funny because of, that's where the Mothman was, even though the Mothman was technically Ohio, not West Virginia. But, Point Pleasant has the statue of him. Yeah, there's a legit statue of the Mothman in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. It's so funny. Look it up. There are other places I'd probably like to visit in America. Oh yeah, Boston. I definitely want to go to Boston. At least sometime. Like, the East Coast has a lot of historical monuments and memorials that I would love to go to. And also, the East Coast during fall just seems like a wonderful place to be. Ow! Jammed my finger on my desk. So I definitely want to do that. But again, nothing is on the cards for me, travel-wise, anyway. Not until the gas prices go down, fuck's sake. Cannon Beach, Oregon was pretty cool, specifically because of the, that's the place where that one shot in the Goonies movie was filmed, where the pirate ship was coming out from behind the rocks, and that was a really cool place to visit. I didn't grow up watching the Goonies, but that was just a really cool experience. And Cannon Beach is just very pretty. I've also been to Portland, visiting, cousins, and they had a huge space museum. That was so cool. Portland is a nice place to visit, but to live? Nah. No thank you. I'd never live in Portland. Come on. There we go. It's like stepping into a picture. Is that just like the common thing to do? Do Europeans just get out more than Americans do? Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't the EU make it easier for y'all to travel internationally? Easier in a way that y'all don't have to, like, check for a passport. You can just, like, take a ferry from England and... Where's Europe? Is that how it is, or am I, misconstruing? Would not be surprised if that was the case. Or is it because European countries are just so definitively smaller? You know what? You make an excellent point. Trains. That's why y'all get out more. Y'all have trains. We don't. Well, not that we don't. It's just we don't have a... I don't think we have a transcontinental railroad anymore. You gotta take a plane. And that's why, because we have airlines. And airlines are notoriously so inconvenient to just be around. And if America had more trains or buses, we have some cities have a bus system, which is cool. But those cost so much. Some of those bus fares, they stack up, man. That is not the right... There we go. You can take 2 hours on a train to go to Berlin from here. Wow! I guess I have... It wasn't really a train, it was a bus. I think I have... You know, I have taken a train. I took a train to Seattle one time. That was really cool. It went right around and through the mountains. It was a very nice view. The only problem with that train ride, it was... In order to get there and check into the hotel at the hour that we needed to be, you know, to beat traffic. Traffic in Seattle is just crazy. We were on this train at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So based on where I live, we had to wake up at 3 to drive an hour just to get to the place. Not really 3. It was like 3:30 just to get up, get ready, make sure I was packed. Because, you know, I do all my packing the night before. But, you know, you gotta... That's why it looks weird. I was using the wrong brush. Double check. Eat breakfast. So it was ridiculously early in the morning. I was just, I wish I could see all this beautiful scenery. But I'm so tired. A real steam train one? That must have been so cool. Anytime I talk about trains, or anyone mentions trains, I think of this old Disney movie called The Rescuers. And there's this character, anytime they get on a flight, and he's like, sure wish we would have taken the train! And that's all I think of. So you wanted to take the train, you scared, you fraidy cat. Fraidy cat? But no, I like trains. They're reliable. They're safe. I have heard some horror stories, though, of, like, a bridge being out, or one of the rails being pulled out and the train completely derailed and just went crashed, killed hundreds of people, caused billions of dollars of damage. I'm just, oh no! Then knowing all that, I'd be like, you know, it'd be really cool if we had trains, because if you hear about half this stuff, it's like, with planes, they're falling out of the sky! Ah! In the Netherlands, bikes, lots of yep, I know. You bike everywhere. You don't really need a car in the Netherlands. So, maybe. America, I heard it's very basic. It's very dense. So dense that you can just take a bike to the nearest city. 45 minutes. Yeah. If we tried to do that in America, we would, so many people would genuinely get killed because something about the bikers here, bicyclists here, granted, not every city and not every road has a bike lane. But when they do have a bike lane, everyone and their dog is on their hands and knees begging these cyclists to use the fucking bike lane. Please, for the love of God, use the bike lane. Stop going on the sidewalk or being in the road. That's what the bike lane is for. Use it, please. But it's like they're allergic. They demand bike lanes. Oh, it needs to be safe for more cyclists in the city. And then the city goes, fine. Here's $10 million to put in a bike lane and shorten our roads and take up parking spaces so that we have to basically park in the middle of the road just to make way for the bike lane. And then guess what? They're on the sidewalk. Drives me to drink. We, excuse me, are enjoying a regular Monster today as our caffeine. I did have a bit of coffee earlier, but it was old yesterday's coffee, and that was just to get me out of bed. You get fined if you cycle. You know what? We should do that. America should do that. But then it backfire because then rich people, rich cyclists would just... I was about to say, rich cyclists would still go on the sidewalk because they'll just pay the fine and then continue engaging in that behavior. But then I'm remembering, it's like, how many rich cyclists have you actually seen in America? And I'm wondering, it's like, my uncle, but he does it for recreation. He doesn't do it around town. He does, like, cross-country stuff. You know, it's so funny. If I ever went to England or any part in Europe, I know I'm just going to be the American stereotype, where I'm going to be going to a pub or something, eating food, and I'll be looking around and be like, do I have any ketchup? Because English food is notoriously bland. And I want spice. I like spicy food. But if it's not available, I'll add ketchup. I was like, hey, did got any ketchup? Because I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Highlanders. I don't like shepherd's pie. I just don't. I don't like it. Chicken pot pie is tolerable, but I don't like shepherd's pie, and the way they do baked potatoes is completely different than what we do in America. Please, where is the salsa? Where's the onions? Where's the cheese? Where's the meat? I just prefer saying crisps and fizzy drinks. Yeah, well, I was just raised with American vocabulary, so it's my default setting. Now, I did watch a ridiculous amount of Top Gear. So I've adapted some of their terminology when talking about cars. But I guess it's just funny. And I also love saying aluminium just to, when I'm feeling particularly quirky. But it pisses my dad off, so I don't do it often. Oh yeah, hell yeah, I love Top Gear so much. They're so funny. I haven't seen, like, full seasons. I've just seen clips and, like, best of. I will fully admit that. But my goodness. They're, where were they? Bolivia? Their Bolivia special, like, literally had my heart in my throat. My heart was pounding during that Bolivia special. That's when they're on that driving up that mountain. I think it was Bolivia. We're driving up that mountain where, like, the road was, like, 3 feet wide, and there were buses running past them at full speed, honking at them, and they're trying to get out of the way, and there's a cliff right there that they just tumble down to their death because there's no guardrails, and it's raining, and it's just made out of mud because there's no pavement up there. It's just, what the fuck are you doing? You're gonna die! I'm pretty sure they had some close calls. I know they had the full camera crew, and the BBC was there to swoop in and save them. But my goodness, that was heart-pounding. I also love the running gag. The peaceful Ugandan morning was shattered by the bellow of a distressed animal. Clarkson! They're just screaming at each other. Can you believe they're not childhood friends? Yeah, they met for that show. When I say bland food waffles, not to upset you, I'm mostly talking about England having notoriously bland food. And that's just, and I'll admit, that's purely the stereotype. But raw herring? Y'all can keep that one. I mean, I can't be too picky about it because I also love sushi, so it's slightly hypocritical, I will admit. I'll be the first to admit, slightly hypocritical. It's just, that's bones and all? I like sushi because it's not looking at me. It's wrapped up in a nice little ball of rice and seaweed with some wasabi on it. But, you know, the cool thing about visiting Europe, for me anyway, is I'd be like, man, I'm craving pizza. Too bad we can't get any of that here. And then people are like, well, no, we can just take the bus down to Italy and be there in a few hours. We can get pizza there. It's like, huh? What are we staying in England for when Italy's right there? Let's go! That would be cool. It's like, oh man, I'm craving this. It's like, man, I'm craving Mediterranean food. Let's just take a 3-hour bus and we'll be in Italy. right now and you didn't have Mediterranean food. It's like, huh? What? We can do that? You can just do that here? You just take a bus and be somewhere? Huh? Not to sound too American, but right along, little doggies, let's go! I said this on stream before, but as an American, I hate American tourists. But I also hate them, knowing damn well I look just as ridiculous when I'm touring anywhere. You gotta watch out for tourists. Not for tourists. If you see a tourist anywhere in your town, watch out for them. Not because they're gonna do anything bad, but because someone's gonna try and scam them. Someone's gonna try and do something bad to them. And you can always spot a tourist. They always got a camera and a map, and they're always looking around because they're lost. Now, granted, most places I've been, they were really nice. They were really nice to us. They understood that we were Americans. And, you know, well, that's also because that country I was touring in was, like, 99% of their income was American tourism. So, of course, they're gonna be nice to us. But I was also wondering, okay, it's like, is this really what the market price is for this food, or is he scamming us because we're Americans? Taxi drivers are notorious for jacking up fees because you're an American. So what you gotta do, you gotta have someone who's from the area show you around. And when you get in the taxi, you let them do all the talking in the native tongue, and you just sit there and be quiet. Because then they won't jack up the price as much. We're all so loud. Oh yeah. Americans, that's the main difference between Americans and Europeans. Now, I mostly know it about European, English Europeans compared to Americans because I did a study on it. Americans are just naturally louder people. Even if you're from a like a small town, where especially if you're from like the South, it doesn't matter where you're from. Compared to other peoples, Americans just are naturally louder. And we're naturally more chatty. If you couldn't tell by this live stream, we are naturally yappers. We'll ask random people on the street, hey, do you know what time it is? Or we'll hold the door open for someone and smile and just like, wow, whew, this weather, huh? We just randomly talk to people. And now some Europeans are like, whoa, what are you doing? I don't know you. Why are you talking to me? It's like, oh, man, I'm just asking about what time it is. And, if you notice someone who's a local and you're like, hey, what's the best restaurants in the area? Can you tell me that? It's so weird. It's like, I've heard some people, now this is not my personal experience, so take it with a grain of salt, but I've heard some people talk about when they're in the UK and they are talking to people like that, it's like the English person is having a panic attack because you're talking to them. Be like, well, I'm not yelling at you. Well, I don't mean to yell at you or anything, but I'm just especially in Nashville. You know, as an American, if you go to Nashville, holy crap. So, from what I've heard, so friendly there. They'll just start talking to you and telling you about their day and all that when you're waiting for the bus or whatever, and you don't even know this person. They haven't even said who their name was, and they're just talking, and we're just talking. I guess it's because America, the United States, is so big and spread out that we do yell, because we gotta walk a farther distance to even see each other. And we just, I don't know, our history of immigration and like integrating from other different cultures, sharing stories, I don't know. I don't know why it is, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's because we're more spread out. So when we see another person, we're like, oh my god, a human! And then we just don't talk to them. Especially in rural areas. You see someone new in a rural area, you're like, huh, they're out of town. I wonder what they're doing here. They're probably lost. I'm gonna go talk to them and ask if they need directions. That happens so much around, like, we'll have random people pulling up in our driveway. And then I come out, first thing I ask them, like, you lost? And they're like, yeah, where's this town? And I'm like, oh, well, that's that away about 2 hours, so it's that away. Just follow this road, and you'll see a sign that says, turn here. And there you go. It's like, oh, thank you. The Google Maps wasn't working. I'm like, yeah. Okay. Save. That's just a... Ooh, that's not the right open. That's just a thing we do. Oh, well, I'll be darned. I didn't do the line art for this one. Whoops. Okay, am I going to do the line art for this one? I'm going to go back, or am I going to go back in color? Which one is going to take me longer? Most Dutch people are brutally honest. For UK or American, I would reckon I'm okay. It's just another word for hello. Here they are. That's actually kind of funny. I am gonna be right back. I need to use the bathroom. And then we shall continue with this work. I don't know if I'm gonna do line art or the colors for the background of the other pages. I'm probably gonna do the line art. But anyway, I'll be right back. back from the bathroom break. Remember to do your stretches. One thing I just remembered. Americans are so different from each other, like, northern and southern. Like, you take someone from Georgia versus someone in New York. In Georgia, and especially in the South, they are very concerned with being polite people. They don't want to seem impolite. So they'll say, oh, well you're such a wonderful person. Bless your heart. That's not the Georgian Southern, but you know what I mean. They all have different accents. It's like, they'll be friendly to your face, but as soon as you leave, they're like, man, fuck that guy. But in New York, they're like, hey, man, whoa. They'll get all up in your face and say, fuck you, get that idiot out of here. And then as soon as you leave, they're like, yeah, they're an okay guy. Yeah, they're a good guy. And that's like, from New York to Georgia, that's not that big of a jump in comparison. But it's just how we be. Okay, since I am gonna do the line art for this one, no, wait a minute. Wait, based on which it is. Ah! Tree, you are giving me issue. You know, earlier I said I'd never want to go to New York City because I don't want to get shot. But same with Detroit. But a small part of me really wants to go to Coney Island just to say I've been there, you know? There's a lot of places in America that I don't want to go to because they're a hellhole and a shit show, but I just want to say that I've been there, you know? Wait, how many other people where I'm from can say they've been to Coney Island? And my mom grew up in upstate New York. And I want to go and, like, see it and for her to, like, show me around and whatnot. She really wants to take my younger sister and I to the East Coast sometime just to visit all the memorials and whatnot. And I'd love to go. But we all talk about it, and then we all kind of look at each other like, oh, God, there's no way in hell we could go on this trip because we'd never want to come home. Well, it's kind of a... more of a personal issue, but still. It's kind of sad that nothing lasts forever. But it's also a good thing that nothing lasts forever. Because that means all bad things come to an end, too. If all good things must come to an end, that means bad things end, too. You know? And you have a good, it's the middle of the day for me, so you have a good night. All bad things come to an end, too. I gotta keep telling myself that. Especially when things do get bad. And you say, you know what? Nothing lasts forever. And that means the bad stuff, too. It is impossible. There is no, state of permanence in nature. It is impossible. There is no state of permanence in existence. So when things are going bad, they're like, oh, it's gonna be like this forever. This is the new normal. No, it's not. Nothing can ever be the new normal or last forever because a state of permanence is impossible. Our galaxy isn't even in a state of permanence. It may feel like it, but everything waxes, wanes. Regresses, redresses. Trends come and go and come back and echo throughout time. Things are going to be okay. Not quite the same as what you remember, but like any echo, it's never quite the same. Well, you know, if you're ever in a rut, missing about the good old days, and the good times, and thinking that it's all bad right now, remember, history repeats itself. And yes, people only say that, it's like, oh, those who forget history are doomed to repeat it, this is gonna come back, bleh. But then that means the good old days will come back too. They'll just be slightly different. Again, not quite the same as what you remember. But since you remember, they'll come back. They'll be familiar. Those golden days shall return. It might take 5 years, may take 10, may take a lifetime. But everything echoes. Everything moves. Everything repeats. In some way, shape, or fashion. You son of a bitch. Motherfucker. Get out of here. Twitch, I thought you said you fixed that. Just when I was talking about things getting better. Currently, we're in the, things couldn't possibly get any worse era. And of course, we all know you never say that in the universe in all seriousness, because then, guess what? It will get worse. But only momentarily. Nothing is permanent. Golden days, golden days, golden days. Time to never break your heart will take the pain away. Right now, the future's certain. I won't let it fade away. Golden days, golden days, golden days, golden days. That is a hyper-detailed tree for absolutely no reason. Oh well. This tree I've decided is going to be a pot, so that means it's gonna... look like this. Since this is a pine tree, it's going to be surrounded by pine needles. Right now, the future's certain. I won't let it fade away. Golden days, golden days. Whoops. Golden days. Golden days. I didn't actually design what the rest of the map this way looks like. But I do know it's got something like this going on. There's no good time. This impossible year. Actually, they're not facing that direction, so they wouldn't see that. There's no you and me. This impossible year. Only heartache and heartbreak and gin made of tears. The bitter pill I swallow, the stars souvenir. And only heartache and heartbreak, this impossible year. All the guests at the party, they're so insincere. They just intrude and exclude this impossible year. I'm gonna let the rest of that background exist in the airbrush. But since for some reason I'm feeling hyper detailed on the line art in the background, we're just gonna do that. Ugh. Get up on my chair. How is it 2 o'clock already? It's not fair. The bitter pill I swallow, a star souvenir. I love that song. I haven't listened to that album in a hot minute. Speaking of nothing being permanent, I have exactly 1 week to put this little thing together. we're going to have a bit of a vibe change for the channel because I love the autumn season so much. I should have said this when people are around, but oh well. It'll be a little surprise, sneak peek. If I can actually focus on the... What the frick is this? There we go. So in preparation for the fall season, I whistled, we are going to have a new VTuber model, or excuse me, PNG tuber model. I'm not getting a VTuber yet, man. Whew. That took me like 3 years to make. And I made some fall-themed assets, which you can look at one of... I say one of them. It's the only one I made. Let's not gas myself up too much. I made some stream assets that I posted on my DeviantArt. That are free to use. And anyone can use them. If you're live streaming during this season and you want to put that, it's like a little border, like what I have around my art window. If you want that, or if you want it just to like frame a drawing that you did, or whatever you want to use it for. As long, I think I should put in the description, for individual use, not for sale. Don't like add it to a commission or something, man. That's a little scummy. Don't do that. Keep pushing my tablet in and keep... There we go. No, that's too big. Now, for this fall season, last year I had a whole like series going on YouTube. And I'm probably not going to do that this year. Mostly because I don't have anything planned. And last year I had this in the works for like a few months. But streaming wise, I think we can do spooky art. We'll probably just do the same thing, just in a live stream form rather than full video essays talking about the, you know, the history of Thanksgiving and how the part that pumpkins had to play in it. And the different mythological connections of the Headless Horseman throughout Europe and America. It was really... working on those videos was fascinating. The other two I made about the, personification and, butterflies. I think the video was talking about the horror implications of butterflies, or like the, just butterflies in general, because that was kind of the channel vibe at the time. It had a lot to do with butterflies. Those ones aren't as good. But I'm very proud of how the pumpkin and the headless horseman one turned out. And they're restricted on YouTube, and I don't know why. Now, okay. For the headless horseman one, I'm pretty sure I know why that one's restricted. Because I did talk about people getting their heads chopped off. But I didn't show anything graphic. I was talking about mythology. And for the pumpkin one, that one surprised me. Why is my pumpkin video restricted on YouTube? It's not age restricted, that's the thing. It's not age restricted, it's just restricted in restricted mode. And I'm just, what the, whatever, I guess. No, that's not the right. There we go. That's probably why those videos didn't do as well as the other ones, because they were restricted in the algorithm. I thought people just weren't interested in hearing about mythology. But no. YouTube cucked me on that one. C'est la vie. Such is life. Why is this? There we go. That, okay, that doesn't look right. Shit, that was the wrong lasso tool. I should probably stop cussing as much, because I have noticed my past 4 posts on YouTube have all been restricted. And I think it has to do with swearing, because I'm not breaking any community guidelines with these streams. It's probably just the swearing. And I've already said a few swear words already, but, you know, we're in the middle of the stream. Maybe if I just don't say as much. Maybe if I just don't talk. You know? Maybe if I just never speak. Because if you... I looked it up. God, it was so depressing, and I hate thinking about it, but oh my god. I turned on restricted mode just to look at my channel. And not only were like half my videos gone, shorts were completely untouched. Maybe like 1 or 2 were restricted. But almost my entire live stream library was gone. There was maybe 5 live streams on my channel that weren't restricted. Like, oh. Oh, that's an issue. I'm having an issue with Brindlefer right now. You and I... Girl, what's going on? What is this? You know what? Every once in a while, Brindlefer, I'll give you... You can have cuteness privileges. Brindlefer can have cuteness privileges for that panel. You know, if I go into lock-in mode, I can just go into mic off settings, which I am gonna have to think about changing. Damn. Alright, I'm gonna actually fix the sketch a little bit. Ah! Leg. What? You know, it's kind of sad. Because for... Not just for my YouTube live stream, but earlier this year, I had a plan to draw the ref sheets for a bunch of characters that were from one of my favorite creepypastas. And I still have I still have the notes for their references. I just haven't sketched anything. And it was going to be like this huge, not really extravaganza, because that's the wrong word. It was just going to be like this series where we were going to work on the Void ref sheets, and then eventually I'd draw Task Force Void Nova Hammer, because that creepypasta is so cool, and I haven't like seen any fan art for it. So I was like, you know what, if I design the Voids and give them like cool ref sheets because they have all their stats listed, and create like little icons for their threat levels, and they draw their weapons, and it would be like, you know, a little survival guide for the voids. That's what I had imagined, but it looks like that's not gonna happen this year. Which, I honestly could have done it at any time, but it felt like it needed to be done during Halloween because it was for a creepypasta, and they are pretty creepy. Now, there were some characters that I probably couldn't draw because there is one that is a, and I can't even say the word without risking getting hit by the moderations. And let's just say he was a zombified German soldier from the 1940s. If you know, you know. But he is one of the voids. I was like, you know, I could skip him. There's also another creepypasta that I personally want to make a little fan mini comic for it, where I just like, it'd be like an unofficial graphic novel for the story, and the creepypasta is called "Turn It Off." Oh my god, that story is so good. If you haven't heard "Turn It Off," I highly suggest listening to it. It's on YouTube. You can find it anywhere. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, doll. Oh, wait a minute. We're not there yet. Where? Here. Not the right angle. Oh well. Son of a gun, this is difficult. You know, if I wasn't so preoccupied with appearances and vibes and aesthetics, I honestly could just do whatever I almost swore. I could do whatever I wanted on this streaming journey. You know? Like, oh, I have this idea for a project. No, I'll have to, it's not, the vibes aren't right. I'll have to wait till, like, this will be a Halloween special. Or this will be specifically for this thing. Or I'll do this, but only after I've hit X amount of followers. So, you know, the vibes will be right. It's like, you know what? Life is short. Do something to a bagel. fun, dang it. A lot of creative projects I've had plans for were never done because the vibes weren't right. You know what? Screw me. You know? I'm gonna do what I want when I want. I have free will. Creatively, I'll do what I want when I want it, how I want it. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Don't at me, I love the Spice Girls. If you wanna be my lover, you gotta get with my friends. Make it last forever. Friendship never ends. If you wanna be my lover, you have got to give. Taking is too easy, but that's the way it is. So here's the story from A to Z. You wanna get with me, you gotta listen carefully. Like M's in a place, you like to on a face like you like from C, lights on an easy beat, doesn't come for free. She's a real lady, and as for me, I'll say, slam your body down and wind us all around. Slam your body down and wind us all around. If you wanna be my lover, you gotta get with my friends. Make it last forever. Friendship never ends. If you wanna be my lover, you have got to give. Taking is too easy, but that's the way it is. If you wanna be my lover, you gotta slam your body down and wind us all around. Slam your body down and wind us all around. Hey, hey, hey. Slam your body down and wind. Slam your body down and sit, ah. I love the Spice Girls. I probably just butchered that rap bit. Rap in air quotes. But it's been a while since I've heard that song, and that's all the lyrics I could. Son of a bitch! Excuse me. I tried to move the map. And there we go. Slam your body down and sit, ah. Apparently, according to multiple personality quizzes I've taken, I am either Baby Spice or Sporty. I don't know where they got the Sporty bit. I think what they got from it is because, I don't remember their real names. I honestly don't. Sporty Spice on stage has this persona of being loud and in your face and energetic, but the actual person behind Sporty Spice, she's actually quite reserved and quiet and avoids conflict. But, you know, she stays in shape. She stayed in pretty good shape over the years. Couldn't be me. The only shape I've stayed in is a circle. It's just still a shape, I mean. When people say you need to stay in shape, they never specified which shape you should be in. Obviously one where you don't feel like you're dying. But then again, from what I've heard. Doesn't matter what shape you're in. As soon as you hit 30, your warranty expires. I say I love the Spice Girls, but then I know nothing about their performances or their personas or anything like that. I have no idea who's singing when the songs are playing. I just know it sounds good, I like it, and I'm gonna sing it, damn it. 'Cause tonight is the night where to become one. Need some love like I never needed love before. Wanna make love to ya, babe. I had a little love, now I'm back for more. Wanna make love to you, baby. Set your spirit free. It's the only way to be. Ooh. You know what's funny? I know he's technically... Let me ask a question for the Void, for no one in particular. Do you consider Friday the 13th Halloween vibes or solely summer? Because I celebrate Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th, and I watch the movies on Friday the 13th, and I have different shirts and whatnot of Jason. But is he also Halloween vibes? Because I see him everywhere in, like, Spirit Halloween. That's where, like, I got half of my Friday the 13th memorabilia was from Spirit of Halloween. But it's a summer slasher fic, you know? But still counts as part of Halloween because ooky spooky. Now, the actual Halloween series is, of course, you know, Michael Myers is always... Ooh, Jesus Christ. It is always a big part because of Halloween. You know, he's the namesake. So with, like, Freddy Krueger, is he Halloween or, like, summer vibes? I've never seen Nightmare on Elm Street. It just didn't seem like my thing. I got into Friday the 13th purely by accident. I honestly don't remember how it happened. I think that's how a friend of mine introduced me to a song called XIII by Crazy Licks. And that song was so good. I was like, what is Friday the 13th? I'm gonna have to look into it at this point. And then I looked into the movie, like, the original film, and got super into, you know, like, the lore and how the movie was made and how it was kind of like, how it specifically was a spoof of Halloween. The original Halloween movie. And also, Kevin Bacon in booty shorts. Need I say more? I think also the mini series Camp Counselor Jason also really helped me get into Friday the 13th. But I was already into the franchise at that point. That's just how I found it. I was like, oh my god, I need to watch these movies. And I bought the 8-pack because I saw... Like, I watched the first film. And I watched it, I was like, you know what? And I then saw reviews of the other films. Like, people ranking them. It's like, I don't care how garbage these are. I need to buy all of them. So, I got the 8-pack. The Friday the 13th 8-pack. Excuse me. I don't have all 12 of them. Yeah, there's only 12 Friday the 13th movies. We stopped right before Lucky 13. And I am screaming on the inside, but also thank God we stopped at 12 because this new direction that the franchise was going was not great. They're trying to be too serious with it. It was like, what's serious about Friday the 13th? Nothing. It's campy. It needs to be funny and goofy. And completely misuse the new modern technology. For some reason, Friday the 13th 3D, that movie sucked. Not only was the writing atrocious, but these proportions are all off. Oh my. But the use of the 3D was subpar at best. I won't say it was garbage, but there was definitely bits that were really annoying because there's this one fat-ass character that is like, oh yeah, pranks, but he's also like very cringe about it, and it's not even funny pranks. The second one, in my opinion, is the best Friday the 13th movie. I keep bringing up my old YouTube channel, but I did rank the Friday the 13th films and like a bunch of other slasher mascots last year. It's the one where I rank it's the live stream on the thumbnails where I rank a bunch of candy. That stream, somehow, so funny, that stream was 4 hours long, and my voice hurt near the end of that stream, but for my 10-hour live stream, no pain whatsoever. I went to bed and woke up the next day completely fine. Like, my hand didn't even hurt. Like, what is up with all this? I liked the second film because not only because the final girl was actually really smart. That was quite the gamble, but it was really smart. I also like that version of Jason. He feels like a real person behind the burlap, because this is before he got his iconic hockey mask. He got it in the third one, which is unfortunate, because the third one was really bad, yet it shaped the franchise. Because there's a bit where, like, the final girl comes at him with a mini chainsaw, and he actually reacts to it, and is kind of scared, and he jumps back out of the way. And he's just, like, this is his first time killing. So Jason is also it's not a lot of slapstick comedy, somehow, like, I'm supposed to be scared for the final girl. What's her name? Jenny or something like that. And I'm laughing my ass. I'm laughing so hard because there's a bit where, like, Jason's standing on the chair waiting for her. He's standing on a wicker chair waiting for her to come out from under the bed so he can crash down, so he can, like, swing his axe down on her. But he broke the chair, so he just kind of haphazardly falls on the floor while she's screaming, and she scrambles away, and he's like, ah! And she grabs the chainsaw, and he's, ah! He doesn't scream or anything, but he definitely, like, runs away. There's a bit where he's chasing after her, she stops, and she kicks him in the balls, and he's down, and he goes down, it's like, oh, damn! And then she runs away, which is why, in later movies, Jason never directly chases after someone, he always comes around from the side and outflanks them. Because the last time he directly chased after someone, he got kicked in the balls. Because Jason learns from his mistakes. Also, I'm one of the people that fully believes Jason never had, even in zombie form, never had teleportation powers. Everyone else around him just wasn't aware of their surroundings. Jason is aware of his surroundings. He grew up in those woods. Those are his woods. He knows them. You know, and you can, like, duck behind a tree, and it'll be as if you were never there. When I turned around, he was gone. That's because the forest is so thick. Dense foliage, and it's usually at night, and these people are usually scared shitless. So they're not, like, using their full brains here. And there's, like, that scene where I don't remember what F-13 it was. But it was one where a lot of people say, I think it was the introduction of Zombie Jason. I think it was the 7th one. I don't remember. Where, like, this lady's scooting back, and she's like, hey, you want money? Here! And she looks down at her wallet, pulls out money, and tries to hand it to him, and he's not there anymore. And then he jumps down from behind her, and it's like, oh, he teleported. It's like, no, he didn't. Because she's literally here. Lady is here in ditch. Jason is walking towards her. She looks down to get money. What Jason obviously did, there's like a tree right here, is just walked around, waited a moment, and then jumped down behind her and axed her in the face. Macheted her in the face. That's all he did. He didn't teleport, he just walked around. There's this, and game theory, no, not game theory, my bad. Film theory had this whole video talking about how Jason never had superpowers. And I'm just, thank you! Someone pointed it out. Even in Jason Takes Manhattan, one of the worst... It's not the worst. I refuse to watch Jason Goes to Hell. I don't remember what that one was. Oh god, it was so bad. I think that one was movie 9. I don't have that one. I kind of want to watch Jason X, which is the 10th one, because that one just seems like it would be fun, stupid. Sorry, I had to figure out his tail for a sec. Ah, that's a little weird. Oh well. Wait. Okay, hold up. So I move him here. Make him a way bit smaller. Because he's further away. And then... Actually, if I just take... Line stripe. And then just... Boop, 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 boop. Nah, let's not do that. You know what? I take that back. Jason Goes to Hell is not the worst Friday the 13th. I'm saying that mostly because I haven't seen it. Just based on the lore of it all, it seems so fucking stupid. But one that is genuinely the worst Friday the 13th movie ever made that I've seen is Friday the 13th 5. What is it called? New Blood? Is it called New Blood? What's it called? No, the New Blood one is the knockoff Carrie crossover. No, wait, that's Bloodlines. What's the fifth one? The fifth one is bad. Let's just say it's bad. It's not even good bad. It's not even enjoyable bad. It's just so... Everyone there is such a big asshole, and it's not even like a fun over-the-top way, and the kills make no sense. Now normally, when Jason kills someone, it's strategic. It's methodical. There's planning and purpose behind it. And there's also a bit of an art form. Not calling slaughtering random helpless people in the woods an art, but Jason makes it the game. His eyes are too big for that. But with this one, granted in the fifth one, it's not Jason, so that's... I mean, you can make that argument, but at the same time, the kills just make no sense story-wise. Why is he killing these people? And why is it like... Why are we led to believe it's this other character that's doing it? When there's no way it could have been him. Now, it would have been cool if it actually was that kid. And it was him slowly losing his mind, and that way he could have been like a different Jason. Not a different Jason. He could have been like... Gen 2. But no, it was very short-lived, and then they just brought back regular Jason. Now, the 7th one wasn't terrible. At least I found a lot of enjoyment in the 7th one. Even though it is very much a product of its time. The 7th one was really leaning into the goofy aspect of it. How no one can possibly take this shit seriously. So I like it, and it was more of a comedy. I like it in that regard. It was so heckin' funny. Wait, it says left outside. But I thought it was left inside. I'm gonna have to come back and check that. It's also kind of annoying because Friday the 13th 5 is the worst one, but it has the best theme song. It's unfair how good that song is. It's called His Eyes by Pseudo Echo. I've said this on stream before many times, and I've said it on that main live stream with the ranking the slashers and candy. But it is a really painted song. For some reason I got Monster Mash now stuck in my head, but then again I did listen to it yesterday. I did the mash. I did the monster mash. The monster mash. Or whatever. Wow. 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 I wonder what big monster video they're going to be covering on Overly Sarcastic this year. Because last year they did Mummies. I think it was last year. And that was awesome. And also very enlightening and also quite disgusting. Because holy God. What the Vickies did to those people. Those mummified remains. Is quite something else. If you want to know what I'm talking about, watch their video. That was something that should be experienced firsthand, I think. I mean, by itself it looks wrong, but on his face it looks fine because his proportions are kind of, you know, wide-eyed and baby-like, despite being the size of a fox. No, that's too big. So what I was saying earlier, with people feeling like Halloween is dying, I would like to agree and disagree. It's just changed. You know, the old ways have definitely pitter-pattered off over the years, but we have, like, the spirit of the spooky season is still alive and well on the internet. Now, I was just thinking about, you know, I just mentioned Overly Sarcastic Productions might be doing a monster video this year, and I'm wondering what that one's gonna be. Sometimes Lavender Town does illustrated creepypasta readings, and they're so good, and I love the stories that she picks. Sometimes they've introduced me to some creepypastas I'd never heard before. And they were really good. And, you know, that's something to look forward to. That usually only happens around Halloween. So yeah, it's not the same as gathering with friends, going out, trick-or-treating around town, and, you know, toilet papering someone's house. But it's the same essence. Granted, you know, like, I listen to creepypastas year-round. But the production of creepypasta readings and retellings ramp up during this season. So it's still part of the spirit, I think. Oh, I need to remember his ear tufts. The monster mash. They did the mash. The monster mash. And I enjoy fall mostly in my in the yard work aspect of it, you know? It's harvest season, and in the Judaica calendar, next week, right? Yeah, next week is Rosh Hashanah, which is our new year, and then the week after that, it's Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year, and then, like, the week after that, it's Sukkot. So, my autumn spirit, or my, like, autumn celebration ramps up and maintains all the way into, like, November. But that's just based on my lifestyle. For other people's lifestyles, it might be a little harder to maintain the enthusiasm. But for me, I've got other things to look forward to. Now, we don't have any, I don't think we have any Jewish holidays in November, but I do know we have 3 in August. Not in August. I meant autumn. We have 3 major holidays in autumn. And then it's, wait, no, it's 5, because after Sukkot, there's, or is that after Passover? Why am I totally blanking on... When is Simchat Torah and Shmini Atzeret? Are those after Passover? Or after... Sukkot? The reason why I'm getting that mixed up is because Sukkot is when we are remembering our time in the desert after Passover. So, I know Simchat Torah and Shmini Atzeret have to do with us receiving the Torah, which is when we were in the desert, and when Moses climbed a mountain. But for the life of me, I can't remember if it was next to Passover, which is in April, or next to Sukkot, which is in October. For the life of me right now, I can't remember. Oh my god, I'm such a terrible Jew. But historically, it's right around it's like they're right after each other historically. But on the calendar, I don't remember where they are. Because the Jewish calendar works on a different, it's not worked on the same Gordon calendar. That looks terrible, but I don't know how to fix it. No, I don't know how to fix that one. Ah, wait. Let's just go with that. Oh, come on, Thumb. Don't burn out on me now. We're only 2 hours into this. Ah! Now that I mentioned it, my thumb has started hurt. My thumb is hurting from holding the pen. Which I never used to do that before. What the heck? Am I holding the pencil wrong now? Things that used to not hurt, now I can't, are like agony for me. I don't know, is this part of getting older? Because if so, I don't want it. I don't want it. Oh, God. Ugh, I'm gonna save. Finally. Man, that took forever. Cracking my knuckles. And taking a sip. We are gonna do the colors, or we're gonna do the eyes and maybe the base flats. At most, we'll get the flats done for this page, and that way, as soon as I end stream, I can just chew, or whenever I feel up to it, I can do the backgrounds, which shouldn't take me too long. When I'm off stream. When I'm on stream, they take me a little... I mean, they take a while for me to do, but when I'm off stream, I think I can, like, blaze through them a little bit. Because I'll just, like, get a documentary or, like, start a playlist and then just completely zone in. Because when I'm live streaming, it's like I'm only half focusing. Now, there are bits where I, you know, go non-verbal, but it's not the same as locking in, you know? We shall see, we shall see. Oops. There. If I could figure out how to do it, no, having a watch party with me would be probably wouldn't be fun, especially if you haven't seen the movie before. It'd be fun if it was a movie I'd never seen before, but was, like, recommended by the chat group and we had a watch party, because that would be really funny, so they'd be like, oh god, oh god. But if it's a movie I've seen before, it's just, especially if we did a watch party for, like, Space Invaders, it'd just be me saying every line. Word for word, because I've seen this movie so much and I love it. Oh god, I just remembered a good spooky movie that has the vibes of a what the fuck is Color Out of Space. God, that's such a good movie. It does everything it should, man. It is so weird and off-putting and disturbing and downright disgusting at some bits, man. You know, I love monster movies. You know what? If you're feeling down and you don't have the, like, the Halloween spirit rumbling in your chest, watch some Monster Mash. Watch some monster movies. Watch the Tremors movies. Those are good monster movies. I mean, they're hokey as hell, but they're good monster movies. Watch some, you know, do the MASH. They did the Monster Mash. The Monster Mash. Watch some movies that are just, like, not overtly Halloween, like Color Out of Space, but just as off-putting. And, you know, got our horror films. You don't have to watch movies that are... Oh, the cats are playing. Specifically Halloween to be in the spirit. You know? Now, granted, it does help. Now, the Godzilla films, they're not really... I wouldn't consider them a good Halloween Monster Mash. I mean, they're good monster movies, and you do definitely want to smash. But... And it depends on what vibe you're going for. Like, maybe Shin Godzilla, I hear he's more horror vibes. Or -1, that's more horror vibes, but the horror vibes of -1 are completely different than what you would regularly consider a horror film. It's more horror by implication. Ooh, good a horrifying monster movie. I think that everyone should watch because it's if you want to know what stares the willies out of me, here are two movies. I've talked about them before. The Ritual, that's on Netflix. It's the one about the guys in Norway that go camping and they run into literally one of the most terrifying beasts I've ever seen committed to cinema. And Blumhouse's The Invisible Man. That is good horror. And it's horror because terrifying things are happening, but it's also horror by implication, because if you really think about the implications of the horror aspect of this film, you realize it's not just a horror film, it's also a cautionary tale in what to look out for. And it kind of, in a fantastic way, it takes something that happened, without getting too much into it, it takes something that happens to people all the time, not the mundane, even though that is fun. They take the mundane and make it horrifying. This isn't that. It's not mundane, but it happens a lot. It happens more than it should, and it put it in a fantastical setting, you know, with a guy having, you know, that turned invisible and whatnot. I mean, Kubrick's The Thing is a good Halloween movie, even though it doesn't take place during any specific time of year. It's just terrifying. Should I end it? No, I'm gonna keep going. Maybe. Ah, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. Same with Doctor Sleep. Now, it is a Stephen King film, so it's gonna have all the weirdness of a Stephen King horror. And it is technically a sequel to The Shining. Not even technically, why'd I say that? It is a sequel to The Shining. But if you think about the implications of Doctor Sleep, you realize what's truly horrifying is that this happens all the time. More so than it ever should. But it does. And if you know what I'm talking about, that statement should hit you like a truck. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, I suggest, and this because I prefer people experience things rather than just be told things, watch the movie Doctor Sleep. Now, it is horror. I think it's rated R, so it's going to be quite graphic in some areas. In a lot of areas. And it is very disturbing. I was actually quite disturbed watching the film. And I wasn't disturbed. I was upset. The movie made me upset because you watch the movie and then you remember what I said. That it happens all the time. more than it should. And then I think you'll understand. If you don't understand, let me know and let me explain it to you. And I'll explain it to you. But if you do know, it makes you want to cry. And in fact, I did cry watching that movie. And that's one of my favorite... I don't know what to call this genre of horror, but I love the horror... I'm gonna call it horror by implication. Because the movie in itself is, you know, still a horror film, but it's like, you know, fantastical and kind of cool and, you know, kind of more action-y. Like, once the Invisible Man picks up in the action, oh, it is so thrilling. It's more of a thriller. See, I like thrillers. I don't quite like horror films. I like thrillers. Thriller, thriller night. Anyway. But if you, like, watch the movie, like, The Thing, and then you think about what the movie is saying or implying, or in, like, if you think about it in, like, in today's terms, if you think about it, and then that's when, like, you feel that sense of dread that you didn't quite get when you were watching the film, but now that you know it, it just is more terrifying to you. I love that. Like, horror via implication, or, like, once you've reflected on what the movie was actually telling you, it's more terrifying than any exorcism, monster, alien movie could ever give, because you're like, oh, this isn't just monsters and fantasy, this is real. But not, like, based on a true story real, but, like, in a way, it's real. Same with, you know, that's why I love The Invisible Man and Dr. Sleep. In a way, it is real. And it is even more terrifying than anything like The Ritual. Now, The Ritual is just terrifying because it plays on the Lost in the Woods, and it's like an endless forest that you see no escape to, with something following you, and you're slowly may or may not be losing your own sanity. That is terrifying in and of itself. But, like, the actual monster, the way it looks, the way it operates, is also terrifying. Like, in a way, Aliens by itself is a terrifying franchise. But if you think about the implications behind Aliens, the original Alien films, not this new bullshit, behind Aliens, it is still, it's a scary thought. Look it up. Okay, yeah. I need to get up for a bit and stretch my legs and eat lunch, so I'm gonna finish Hazelpaw here, and then I'm gonna end stream. Because whoops, that's not how his markings are. I need a break. I need lunch. I need food. Sustenance. If you guys know or can think of any movies that are like scary on their own, but then once you think about it later, it's even more terrifying. If you can think of any movies like that, y'all let me know. I want more than just 2 in my repertoire. And it's not just them asking social questions in the frame of horror, but you know, like, how do I explain it? I've purposely been vague because I want y'all to go watch these movies. I know a lot of people dunk on Blumhouse for what they've recently been doing, and it's been more goofy than actual horror, but they slapped with The Invisible Man. That was genuinely terrifying. For me, anyway. I think that is the scariest movie I've ever seen. Now, it didn't give me nightmares for weeks like The Ritual did. That gave me nightmares for weeks after watching it. It's because I don't like the idea of being chased, man. So I'm actually going to end this stream here. I will continue to work on these pages. I'm probably going to finish these pages today off stream, or at least I'm going to try to finish them as much as possible. And then next stream, we're going to be working on our fall theme stuff and getting ready for October. Yeah, we'll be... Next week is the fall equinox, so hopefully that will be like our launch into the fall season, and October is just going to be full steam ahead. Hopefully. Like, again, you know, I'm not, I don't want to build up to something huge and then it go out with a whimper, but I also don't want to sell myself short because I have done big projects like this in the past, and I thought they turned out okay. So, we are going to end it here. Thank you all so much for watching, whether you watch live or after the fact. Either way, I love you, either on Twitch or on YouTube. You can follow me on all the social medias, all linked in my About page on DeviantArt for arts and comics, or Tumblr for updates and little sketchy art memes. I have another one. You can support me on Ko-fi, or Ko-fi, however you want to pronounce it, for one-time donations for as little as $1, just to help me keep going. Yeah, and I think that's all my socials. Anyway, I will be seeing y'all in the next one. Wish me luck on this comic thing. And, bye-bye.
You're all going to hell. Goodbye.